Yeah, it's an interesting one. Probably for me personally, it doesn't mean a hell of a lot. Like the 100 games is, no more significant than the previous 99 I've played. It's more so significant to the people that have helped me along the journey and the people that are really close to me. So for people like mum and dad, my brothers and sister, some really close friends, as well as probably the coaches that have coached me on the way up through, like Simon Atkins at VFL level, the Hazelman brothers at Shepparton United. It means a lot more, I think, to them. At this point in my career, I'm still motivated to, by team success and to perform week in, week out. So, from my point of view, it's no different to any other week, but really humbled to be able to share it with some significant people in my life.
It's a little bit more special, obviously, because you started later and then having the injury setback as well.
I suppose in hindsight, when I got drafted, or I was told I was going to play 100 games, would have jumped at it. But yeah, as I said, right now it's something that I just want to continue it going into 101, 102. I play every week as if it's basically like my grand final. It's I can't allow myself to slip or deviate too far from my personal standards. Otherwise, I compromise myself and in turn would compromise the team. So yeah, I'm really motivated by maintaining a high standard, and that's all my focus is at the moment.
Do you still have relationships with Simon Atkins, the Hazelmans, you say?
Yeah, the Hazelmans, yeah.
Do you still have relationships with those guys?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. So, I've had some really significant influences in my career, and they stem from my childhood basically, but through my junior club, Shepparton United, without a guy called Craig Blizzard, exposing me to some AFL recruiters when I was about 18 or 19, I'd struggle to comprehend even probably being in this situation, playing 1 or 2 games rather than 100. So and from there, I think Steve Hazelman was my first senior coach, and then such as country footy, he took off, and then his brother Brad took over the next year, and then they encouraged me to have a crack at VFL level, and Simon Atkins was the coach at Werribee there for 2 years. Close relationship with Chris Bond here, who's the general manager, so not too sure if they had too many words said behind closed doors during the lead up to the draft when I was picked up, but they have a close relationship, and I still keep in some sort of regular contact with Simon because he was absolutely influential in getting me my AFL chance.
Mick obviously taken in the rookie draft after being overlooked for a couple of years. Do you sort of see James Podley was one of those mature age recruits? Now you're sort of the poster boy for that. Do you still see an emphasis being placed on mature age recruits, or do you think the natural path is the draft?
No, definitely. I think the mature age recruits, especially through the rookie drafts, are starting to become a lot more common. I think we've seen even a couple more this year. Vandenberg at Melbourne springs to mind, who's comes in and makes he's a ready-made player that makes an impact straight away. But yeah, around my time it was still few and far between. This club's been brilliant in promoting opportunities for mature age players. From Greg Broughton, myself, Jay Van Burlo, Hayden Ballantyne. So there's been a number of Lee Spur who have come through and made a really good go at an AFL career. So I'm really pleased to kind of be associated with it. Not a little bit uncomfortable being a poster boy as such, because I think there's too many significant stories coming out of rookie drafts, and even the national draft. Like Hayden ended up somehow being a first round draft pick or something. So that's a great story in itself. And the more I don't think age now is used as an excuse when they go to the recruiting table.
You spent a bit of time with Essendon, St Kilda, and also overlooked. Is that sort of a motivating factor for you to make sure you say every game's your grand final, to continue to make sure you make every game a winner?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you acknowledge how short your time in the game can be. It can be fleeting. You can blink, and it does. I know you hear it a lot. It does feel just like yesterday that I was recruited to this club and came over here in 2010, so this is my 6th year in the system. But I've had so many fantastic moments, so many challenging moments, but they all just happen so fleetingly. And I'm motivated to make my career go for as long as I can. But knowing how quick the last 6 years have gone, you've got to treasure every moment and make sure you make every game count. And no more important one for me this weekend is the Gold Coast. From a team perspective, we're looking to bounce back and get back on the winners list going into a bye. And that what does really motivate me above all else is team success, as well as making the people that I talked about earlier in this interview proud and giving them some sort of satisfaction out of my career, because at the moment I'm just trying to sustain my place in it, but at the same time hoping that those people can enjoy the ride while it happens.
Do you notice much of a difference in mindset between mature age recruits and guys coming in at 17, 18 years of age?
Probably a little bit more facial hair from the mature age recruits, but I think that this club is just it blows my mind at how at the standard we hold ourselves to account. The guys that come through the door, 17, 18 years old, learn really quickly about the standards of the club and the standards of the environment. Guys like Connor Blakely and Ed Langdon, Lockie Weller, who have come in this year, as well as the guys years gone past, they've picked it up really quickly. They've still got a lot to learn, but the maturity of them, only 18 or 19 years old, is exemplary. I think the only real difference you probably see from a mature age player is they've probably just got a little bit more life experience. But as far as footballing now goes, it's fairly stock standard across mature age and relative age.
Talk about desire levels within yourself, the desire of some of the players in the team, which questioned after the loss on the weekend. How is that? Have you noticed any change within the group this week after coming off a loss?
Not so much. No, I think I've mentioned it before when I've talked to you guys. That we hold ourselves to a really high standard, and we'll review games regardless of result, win, loss, really stringently, and really we don't sweep anything under the carpet because maybe we got out of jail and had a close win, and likewise we won't hide from anything or jump too much at shadows if the result, like the weekend, didn't go our way. And the result didn't go our way for a reason. Richmond were too good on the night, and credit to them as well, because the real areas we identified as their strengths and the areas that we needed to expose and stop them from being influential, we couldn't do. So they beat us at the game that we knew they play.
Well, I think it came out, Aaron had another big night in terms of hit-outs to advantage. He's had probably 3 big days in the last month, but you guys haven't been able to capitalise scoreboard-wise so much. Is that something you're working on and looking at week to week?
Always trying to improve our game as a midfield group and a stoppage group. I think the games you mentioned, like the Adelaide game, the conditions were quite rugged, so scoring effectively and effective, clean ball use from stoppage to scoring opportunities was going to be limited, despite there being more stoppages across the night. But again, I think teams, I mentioned that we identify what Richmond's strengths were, and we weren't able to stop them. They obviously, and I think a lot of the team, all of the teams across the competition would see Aaron and our midfield setup as influential to stop to try and get a result. So we acknowledge that that's going to happen week in, week out, and we've got to be better as a midfield group, from Aaron through to Nathan, David, myself, Lockie, Neil, to make sure we're holding up our end of the bargain for the other lines like the mids and the backs, the forwards and the backs, to do their job, and we should get the result.
How disappointing is it to lose, John, for 8 to 10?
Yeah, it's disappointing to lose anyone, because we're a very tight-knit group and we've played a lot of football together, and Jono's had a really outstanding season to date. But the reality of it is we'll be without him for the short term, with a good view to get him back at some stage this year. So it'll give someone an opportunity now to come in, and I think we've been relatively lucky with injury to date, but we knew we were going to get tested at some stage with some personnel issues, some injury or suspension along the way. So this is just probably step one.
Can you tell us a bit more about your role in the side this year? Obviously, you don't seem to be spending as much time in the midfield.
Yeah, it's pretty similar to probably years gone by, but again, probably with the availability of players at the moment, I think Lockie Neal has been in and playing really good football, so he gives us another dimension in the midfield. Nick Subin's had a really strong year on the back of a strong pre-season. So there's probably a few of the guys that are probably spending a little less time in there and playing a little bit more high half forward role or resting forward. So I've played a lot of that role throughout my existence here, but probably again with the availability of talent we've got at the moment, I'm more than happy to step aside and play that different role for a little bit more extended period.
You enjoy getting forward and kicking goal?
Everyone likes kicking a goal, yes, but I should be looking to dish a few more off, I think.
You kicked a ripper in Adelaide.
I did. I think I was made aware that a few blokes were open at the top of the square straight after and after the game. So, as I said, I better be looking towards the top of the square a bit more often going forward.
How's your body feeling? Obviously, you had the ankle issue at the start of the year, which probably took a little bit longer to get back full fitness. How are you feeling? Obviously, a pretty tough game against Adelaide in those conditions. Now, I imagine you're probably looking forward to a bit of a respite in the bye as well.
After every game I've played, you never feel like you're ready to go for a couple of days. But this year had that little ankle injury in the pre-season, and that compromised me a little bit heading into the season. But again, once you're fit and available and you put your hand up for selection, you're out there, you're 100%. So probably early in the year I was a little bit inconsistent in my performance, I think. But I think over the last month, 6 weeks, I've been able to establish some real consistency, and the body feels really good. And regardless if we're going into a bye after this week, I feel comfortable that I'm pulling up well after game and can recover effectively going to the next one.